I understand one of the next projects here at the museum is to put the Albuquerque's B-52 on display. I say Albuquerque's B-52 because my understanding is that this airplane, once it came off the production line, actually came to Albuquerque, came to Sandia, to the test program, the nuclear weapon test program here in Albuquerque, and has been here ever since. So it had a different experience than any other B-52 in the world because it was involved in the test program. The B-52 is an amazing airplane. I remember at test pilot school we would coax other Air Force squadrons, wings, into bringing their airplanes out to Edwards, and then we would do nice things for them, like fly them in balloons and things like that, while we flew their airplanes. So the purpose of getting them out there was to fly a different airplane, just so that we would, as test pilots, have as much experience in as many different airplanes as possible. And so that when you flew an airplane for the first time, when you were the first pilot to ever fly an airplane, it wouldn't be a surprise because you had flown a lot of airplanes for the first time. We talked a unit into bringing a B-52 out to Edwards, and a number of the pilots got to fly it. I remember they came back and their analysis was the B-52 was not designed to take off, turn, or land. And you think about it, because it didn't do any of those things well. It was difficult to take it off, difficult to land it, and turning was not a particularly pleasant experience. It was designed to fly in a straight line to the other side of the world, drop a nuclear weapon on our enemy, and then fly to a safe location. So it was primarily designed just to fly at high altitude in a straight and level fashion as far as possible. And that it does very well. If you were going to design an airplane that did something like that, you would have a really long wing and a really skinny fuselage, and that's exactly what it has. So if you were to redesign a B-52 today to do the same mission, the engineers would use different engines and some different components and probably a different method of getting commands to the control surfaces and things like that, but it would look the same as the B-52, which is why it's been around 60 years, and my understanding is planned to be in the inventory for another 40 years. As I go around the museum and see all the things that have been restored here, so that we, our children, our children's children, all future generations can share in this history, I realize that it takes a lot of work to do this. Just maintaining existing airplanes is hard. Restoring airplanes that are many years old is even more difficult, and it's costly. But it's important. It's important for our history. It's important to keep the events that have brought us to where we are in perspective, but it costs money. So I'd encourage you, if you're interested in preserving this history, particularly the aviation history, and in particular the history relative to the B-52, and everything that it has done for this country for the last 6 decades, that you contribute to its restoration. The airplane is in good shape to begin with. Fortunately, the museum was able to acquire a B-52 that is in relatively good shape to begin with, but it takes a lot to restore it to a condition where it'll continue to stay in good shape for years to come.